Hey everyone, and welcome. So, Amazon just made an announcement that has the entire digital reading community buzzing, and honestly, some people are pretty upset. Today, we're going to break down exactly what this new Kindle update is, why it's happening, and what it really means for some of the most loyal Kindle fans out there.
This story doesn't really start with a boring corporate press release. It starts with pure, raw emotion. This is a real quote from a user reacting to the news online. And that's not just mild disappointment, right? For a lot of people, this feels like a genuine crisis.
And that really is the million-dollar question we're going to dig into. What could possibly have book lovers this upset? It turns out it's about so much more than just an old piece of technology. We're talking about loyalty, about habit, and maybe most importantly, about what it even means to own something in this digital age. To really get this, we have to start right where the story did, with these incredibly passionate readers, many of whom have spent more than a decade with their trusty old e-readers.
So this is it. This is the moment it all kicked off. On April 8th, an email goes out from Amazon, and it completely changes the game for thousands of users. The message was simple. Support for a whole generation of older Kindle e-readers and Fire tablets is officially ending.
Okay, so let's get into the nitty-gritty of this announcement. What is actually changing, and when is it happening? Well, you're going to want to circle May 20th on your calendar, because that's the key date.
Discontinued support. It sounds so corporate, doesn't it? But what does that actually mean in plain English? Well, it means that if you have a Kindle that came out in 2012 or even earlier, you're about to lose access to the Kindle store. You won't be able to buy new books, borrow them from a library, or download any new stuff directly to that device anymore.
So let's be super clear. Your old Kindle isn't just going to turn into a useless brick. That's the good news. You can still read every single book you've already downloaded, but its connection to the outside world, that's getting severed. No new books, no library loans, and this last point is a really big deal. If you ever do a factory reset on that device, you will not be able to register it to your account again. It basically becomes a locked-in-time digital bookshelf of whatever you had on it. So the big question is, which devices are we actually talking about here? I bet a lot of you watching are wondering, oh man, is my Kindle on the list? Well, let's find out. And wow, this really puts it into perspective, doesn't it? We are talking about a trip down memory lane. The original, iconic, first-generation Kindle from way back in 2007. The Kindle DX with that huge screen. The absolute fan-favorite Kindle keyboard. And yep, even the very first Paperwhite. These were the devices that started the whole e-reading revolution.
And here it is, the complete list. In total, 11 different models are getting cut off. You've got those really early ones, the first gen, the DX, the keyboard, the touch, but it also includes that first gen Paperwhite and a bunch of the early Fire tablets too. You might want to take a second and look at this list, because if your device is on here, that May 20th change is coming for you.
So you gotta ask, why now? What this whole situation really throws into sharp relief is that classic conflict in the tech world. You have the deep, personal attachment users have for a product that just works for them, slammed up against a massive company's need to keep moving forward.
You can't really get this story until you hear from the people who love these old devices. This quote from a user on X just nails it. They say they hate the touchscreens because they're always turning pages by accident. See? For them, it's not about having the latest and greatest tech. It's about specific features they love, like the physical page turn buttons on the side of the Kindle 5. To them, the new models aren't an upgrade at all. They're actually a step back.
But then you have Amazon's side of the story. A spokesperson basically said, look, some of these devices have been supported for almost 2 decades. Technology has come a long way since then. From their perspective, it's just not practical to keep maintaining the old systems needed for this ancient tech to work. Progress, they would argue, means you have to leave some things behind. And this number is probably the key to the whole thing from Amazon's perspective. According to them, this big, dramatic change only affects about 3% of their current active Kindle users. Now, that 3% is clearly very, very passionate, but for Amazon, it's a business decision that, in their eyes, impacts a tiny fraction of their customers. So, to try and soften the blow, Amazon is offering a deal. The trade-off is pretty straightforward. You lose the store on your old Kindle, but if you decide to upgrade before June 20th, they'll give you a 20% discount on a new one, plus some book credits. It's their way of trying to gently nudge this very dedicated group of users onto their modern devices.
When you step back, this whole situation brings up a much bigger, almost philosophical question that goes way beyond just Amazon or Kindles. It really gets to the very heart of what we are buying when we buy a digital device.
And that's the thought I really want to leave you with today. I mean, think about it. A physical paperback book you bought in 2007 is just as readable now as it was back then. But a digital e-reader from that same year can have its main function turned off by a decision made in a boardroom hundreds of miles away. It really forces us to ask the question, when a device needs a server to work, do we ever really truly own it?